Dear Comcast Internet, I hate you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gandhi's Thoughts, brought to you by Mind Nutrition. The first thing you're going to notice, actually, is that, hey, where's your layout with the Twitch stream? My internet's finicky. I hate Comcast cable. I want you to burn. Okay, I want you to burn. Fix my stuff. My online experience is terrible. I can't even have a Skype call with someone. Come on, man. Anyways, today we are going to be talking about how to convince your parents to let you go to an event. Okay, so this is a video for you to show your parents. Now, I know the first thing you're going to say is, well, Scott, are you the right person to do this? I know you tend to curse. Don't worry. I'm going to do my best just for you in this short video because I'm a good guy like that. Notice the comb over? What can you do? So, first things first. What you, as the child, have to realize is that every parent has a different idea as to what a gaming event actually is, and you have to clarify that. Now, for example, my parents thought, oh, cool, you're going to compete, awesome, but they still have their worry. You know what their worry was? They were like, I know what kind of people play video games. I know the demographic 16 to 22-year-olds. You're only 13. Now you're going to be 14, and you want to travel alone without your brother because he's going to college. What kind of trouble are you going to get into? And I was like, sitting there, and I was young, and I didn't really have too many answers. I was just basically said, Mom, I'm going to compete. I'm not going to do anything stupid. Like, I know that sounds weird, and I know the boys will be boys, but my job is to show up to that event and be the best. And there's nothing that's going to get in my way. She said, sure. So then she goes, call me in the morning when you wake up. Call me at night. Call me the next morning. Check in with me. Let me know when you get knocked out. Then you call me again at night. And that routine basically lasted for up until I was like 18. So from age 14 all the way to 18, I would call my mom in the morning, I'd call her at night, I would call her when I was eliminated, or call her after I won the event. And then I would still have to call her again that night. It's just, I guess, you know, she wanted to check in. And it's always good to call your mom and say, hey, Mom, guess what? I just won. And she goes, oh, my God, that's awesome. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm taking home like $5 grand. I have no idea what to do with that money. Right? And it's cool. It's so awesome because not only are you doing what you love, but you're also making money. Potentially. Right? And a lot of parents need to realize that there's very few cases where a person shows up to their first event and they place in the money. That is very rare. Very, very rare. And the reason why is because there's a lot of maturity that goes into it. A lot of decision making, a lot of being comfortable with your teams. And a lot of these amateur teams end up breaking up like 3 days before the event and then like reforming again. I don't know. It's a bunch of crazy nonsense that I personally can't keep up with, and it sucks. I've been there. But eventually you climb out of that. We like to call that team hell. And there's nothing you can do about it. And by we, I mean I just made that up. But it's team hell. You end up getting the worst luck. You have a lot of people who say, hey, you know what, I'm definitely going to this event. And then a couple days before, they're like, oh, man, I can't make it. It's like, come on, dude. What's going on with you? But anyways, that's kind of like the motto I went with my parents. So they looked in and said, you're going to get in trouble. And I can assure every parent out there that if your kid seeks trouble at home, he's probably going to seek trouble at an event. That's not unique. But I'll tell you what, at an event, they have a less chance of getting in trouble than if you let them out on the weekends back at home. Because they're there to compete at that event. They want to be the best. They got to prove they're the best. There's so much stuff that goes on in a tournament. I mean, as soon as you walk through the door and you check in on Friday, you get called to a station. And you stay playing basically that whole day. And then the next day, you're there at 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. depending on the tournament. Normally, it's about 9 a.m. these days. You're there at 9 a.m. You're telling me your kid's going to go out and do something stupid on Friday night? No chance. You're there at 9 a.m. and then you have to play all day again. And if you win that out, you're there tomorrow at the same time competing for as long as the event takes until you're eliminated. There's very little time for them to get into any kind of trouble. There really is. I was a person who I was able to find trouble because that's the kind of person I was. And looking back now, I was stupid. And now I go to bed at events at like 10 o'clock. I'm an old guy, and I just sit there and I kind of put my head on the pillow. I'm like, oh man, I got to get up in like 12 hours. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And because I'm a princess with my sleep. So anyways, so that's kind of like where my parents were. And I can assure every parent out there, if you have faith in your kid, if you know he's a good kid, and you know he's not going to go looking for trouble, and you know he wants to go to this event just to compete, let him. There's a couple miracle stories. And by all means, by the way, your parents, you're allowed to come to events. You're completely allowed. In fact, I welcome every parent to come to an event because it's an experience that you actually have to have in your life. It is magnificent seeing kids 25 and under compete for the amount of money they're winning, and having the press and having them grow so many Twitter followers and interacting with a bunch of people. And I think one of the coolest memories for my mom was her when she went to the DC event in 2010. She watched me sign an autograph, and she could not believe it. She's like, I was just changing your diapers like yesterday, right? And like, who are you to sign an autograph? Like, it should be me, right? And she's joking around with me. And, you know, like, we started bonding over that. And I feel like as a parent, you know, you're letting your kid do your dream, commit their dream. Like, they're chasing after their dream, and it's wonderful. But so anyways, talking about miracle stories, I always like to talk about I Got Your Pistola. Okay, now I Got Your Pistola, he came from a family, middle class, and he always wanted to compete in an event. His first event, he was 13 going into the Major League Gaming 2007 season. He was a free-for-all player. Yeah, he was on a 4v4 team, but he didn't take 4v4 as serious as he did free-for-all because he was better at free-for-all than he was at FFA. He shows up to that event. His parents drove him up there. It was New York, I do believe. Pretty sure it was New York, Meadowlands. His parents drive up all the way from Georgia. They're like, all right, you know what, son? If you really want this, we'll see it out. They go there. And the free-for-all is a single elimination tournament. Okay? So how it works is there's 8 people in the tournament. Or there's 8 people in your match 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up into the grand finals. And top 4 advance, so 1 through 4 advance, and 5 through 8 get sent home. That's it. Done. No more free-for-all for you. You're out. You have to wait on the 4v4s, excuse me. And so that's what basically Pistola went into. Now, a lot of people didn't know this, and I didn't know it at the time. I was playing in 4v4 events. I was playing in the 4v4. I didn't touch free-for-all. For Pistola, in order to continue his career as a professional gamer, he had to place in the money in the FFA. That's the only way he was able to afford to travel to another event. Because his parents, you know, Mr. D's wanted to travel with him because who in the right mind would let a 14-year-old or a 13-year-old boy travel across the country by themselves? Like, there's just so much room for error for that. That's an overprotective soccer mom's worst dream, right? Just Home Alone on steroids, right? Because not only is he going to events, but there's older people who may influence him and take advantage of him and steal his money. The odds are for a paranoid person. If you love someone, obviously you're a little bit paranoid, it is your worst dream. So he had to have enough money to basically cover their flights to go to the next event. Pistola fought all through that open bracket. He fought through 256 people, and he finished in the top 3. Or whatever it was. He finished in the money, and he was able to go to the next event. Now, fast forward to today. Pistola is 20 years old. He is, out of all time, he is a top 5 player. In fact, I put him as my number 4 of all time. He has 2 national championships. He has 10,000 plus followers on Twitter. I think that may be even doing him a disservice. He has 11 event wins. He has helped pay for his sister's house. He has done everything, all because of gaming. How magnificent is that? All because of one event that finally Mr. and Mrs. D said, okay, you know what, Justin? We'll let you go. And Mr. and Mrs. D's, and this isn't just about them. Every parent, I swear to God, I don't know what it is, who lets their kids go to these events and they show up. They're always awesome parents, like Mr. and Mrs. Elam, Mr. Hines, awesome people, or Mrs. Elam. I don't think I ever met Mr. Elam. Shockwave's mom and dad, all of these people all mean so well. And that's like one of the best things, is because not only can you relate to their kids, but your parents can relate to the parents, and they're able to talk, and they're able to, you know, just see where the other's coming from, and they put their faith in their kids, and that's the best thing you can do. I'm not telling you, by the way, I'm not telling you how to parent your kids. I'm not, because by no means am I ready. I'm 24 years old, and I barely know what's right for myself, so how in the world could I possibly tell someone what's right for them? I'm not here to tell you about parenting, but I'll tell you what. I had a talk with my mom the other day, and, you know, she was sitting there, and I'm like 16 credits away from my associate's degree, but I'm 24, right? But I've been chasing my dream of being an on-camera personality, and before that I was chasing my dream of being a pro player. And obviously I am a caster, but I want to make it a full-time career, just to clarify. And so right away my mom goes, you know, Scott, I wanted so much better for you. Like, I think somewhere along the lines, like, I messed up. And I looked at her and I said, Mom, I have no idea what you're talking about. To me, you are the best parent in the entire world. Don't worry about where I'm at in my life. Think about all the stuff that I've done. I've traveled the United States of America. I've been to Canada. I've yet to be to Europe. And as soon as that happens, like, that'll go on the list, right? Like, I was on national TV for 2 years. I was on USA Network. I was on G4. I was on ESPN Saturday night, like, on the live feed. I became an on-air personality. Like, the things that I've done, like, I travel every year since 2005. I have at least been on a plane 5 times a year to different places. And I said, Mom, your support is the only thing that matters to me. Like, that's it. Now, obviously, it goes with context, okay? Obviously, if your kid comes to you and goes, hey, Mom, Dad, I want to be the world's best drug dealer, that's kind of when you gotta interfere a little bit. But if it doesn't cause them distress, if they're still doing their homework and everything's spick and span, and then on top of that, it's not causing them any dysfunction, just from my personal experience, let them just attempt to pursue their dream. For me, I will never in a million years ever say anything bad about my mom, because she let me chase my dream. Now, another story here from a person who, you know, I don't even want to go into it. I was gonna get in here and talk about how, you know, other parents out there may not have let their kids go out there and they resent them for it, but I'm not gonna guilt trip. I'm not gonna do any of that. That's clownish. So anyways, so I've covered that miracle story of I Got Your Pistola, and I think it's one of the best. But really, at events here, if your kid is serious, give him an ultimatum. Make him achieve it. For me, I had to kind of work for it. And I think that's very important. They have to understand. I know you always want to say, oh, you got to understand the cost of $1, the worth of $1, right? Like that old saying. I don't even know if they use that anymore. Now it's probably like, you got to understand the cost of an app on your iPhone. Whatever it is. Make them kind of put a benchmark. Just set down rules. Now, the other thing, when I say set down rules, this is just need to be clarified. I understand the importance of homework. I get it. But don't restrict them to where they're like, oh, I can only play video games for like an hour a day. That kid sucks. I want to let you know that. Like, that kid right there, his life sucks. He's not happy. Anytime you put too much restrictions, especially on video games are escape from reality. This is a time where your kid can sit down and get away from stress in his life. Now, obviously, too much can be a bad thing. But if he's doing well in school, if he's helping around the house, if he's working a part-time job to help him get to these events, let him go. Please. And I extend my hand to every parent out there. If you have been to an event and you've had a bad time, please reach out to me. Please. I would love to hear it, because I've never met a single parent who said, that gaming event, how dare it? I can't believe it. Unbelievable. Like, I've never in a million years. Normally that happens when, a kid's teammate doesn't show up to the event due to like a flight cancellation, or their team or their son missed, like, I don't know, the call of where their team is at what station. That's kind of where those goes. But other than that, that's really all I have to say. I love you, but I don't love you. Take it easy.